Hello and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy episode 544 for the week of May 9th, 2022. My name is Ryan Higgins. And besides the demon possessed Kevin, who else is here with us this week? That was Brock.
Yes, that was Brock.
Well, and Kevin.
There's
hey,
Kevin.
Don't
There's
take
Kevin.
Charlie's and
And featuring
the Charlie.
Yes.
And Charlie's here.
I should just start making it longer and longer, like also featuring
And
special guest appearance by.
They all knew all
We
different.
had Charlie, say what you said right before I hit record about Kevin, about your big. We had the chance to invite the demon Kevin Sharp onto this podcast, and unfortunately, we just didn't. We didn't do it.
And I would have no idea how to recreate it. That's the problem.
The funniest, most appropriate mic screw up ever was Kevin connected, and he sounded like he was right out of
Wondagore Mountain.
Out of the multiverse demon dimensions or something. It was truly incredible.
I'm betting it was how one of those demon things talked that protected Scarlet Witch or something. Spoiler.
Yeah, we will. No spoilers in the front half. Don't worry. We should have recorded that. That would have been. It was
could have at least done the intro.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
It
Anyway,
was incredibly hard to understand, but it was so amazing.
it was so funny.
Scared the shit out of all of us.
Yeah.
It's good radio. Everybody's enjoying the being described something cool that they missed.
Well, no, it was pretty great. We are going to talk all about Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. Of course, no spoilers up front, plenty of spoilers in the back half. However, before we do that, we cannot have this podcast without a quick mention of the passing of George Perez. We've talked about him multiple times over the last couple months. And I know we just had our last week's episode was all about the passing of Neil Adams, another legend in the comic industry. We kind of decided we sort of already did our tribute to George Perez. There's no point of really repeating the stuff we already said. If you have not listened to it, go back a couple months, episode 527, back in December of 2021, when it was announced that he was, that George Perez had, they basically said 6 months to live, and here we are 6 months later, right? It was almost, it was almost exact. He did pass away on Saturday on Free Comic Book Day, which is
he passed on my daughter's birthday.
Yeah. And even his family said, technically, I think he died Friday night, but it was announced on Saturday. Yeah. Even his family said he probably would have. What probably would have liked that. It was appropriate. There's nothing we can really say that we didn't say in that episode. Again, 527, you want to hear us talk.
May 6th is when they're saying. So Friday, yeah.
Yeah. Incalculable loss to the comic industry. One of the nicest guys in the industry from all reports. And I'm sure we'll talk about him in future episodes, but we didn't want to go through this episode and we're off next week. And, didn't want to skip saying something. Very sad. If any of you guys have something you want to say for us, feel free to jump in, or we can move on.
I hear that there's they're running a double page obituary in the New York Times, but I think you can check it out online.
I think his memorial is going to be at MegaCon. I think he was scheduled to be there in some fashion as kind of like his final goodbye, but it sounds like they're going to do the memorial there. So if you're in Orlando, I believe is MegaCon. So Kevin, you are very quiet. I don't know if you get a way to kick your volume up. It'll fix it in post, but
it's up.
Okay. It's sky high. That's okay. It'll sound okay on the back end of the recording.
That's what we hope.
Yeah, no. Well, I level all that stuff. Okay. Well, again, extremely sad, but we're gonna move on, and again, we'll go back and listen to that episode 527 from a few months ago and hear us talk all about George Perez for like an hour and a half. So we're talking about Multiverse of Madness. Again, no spoilers in the front half. If you know our movie review, we kind of give some quick hits and general thoughts in the beginning, and then we go into full spoilers. So if you have not seen it, I recommend go see it. From the box office, it sounds like probably everyone saw it. So did extremely well this weekend. Let me do my old random number generator. Who's going first? Let's see who's going first. That would be Mr. Kevin Sharp. We're going to go Kevin, Charlie, myself, and Brock around the table. You go
the digital table
3, 4, 1, 2.
Can't wait till we're doing
on the virtual table.
You can't wait till we're doing
Kevin
this in the metaverse.
Wait, I need to ask you guys because I honestly don't remember this, and maybe listeners don't remember it either. Where was everybody's ranking for the first Doctor Strange?
Mid. I think I gave it like a B. Like, it's okay. It's actually funny enough. I will bring back up the first movie when I talk about it in depth later. So,
okay.
But
Charlie, what about you?
I mean, it was mid. It was high mid, but it was mid.
Okay.
Like the first Doctor Strange movie, I enjoyed the visuals and a lot of that stuff quite a bit. But it's really hard to hit the mark of some of the other Marvel movies for me. So.
Well, I guess let me get this out of the way. I felt like at the time when it came out, I think my complaint, quote unquote, was it kind of just felt like a phase 1 Marvel movie, like it was just getting started. Little did I know what the Marvel movies would turn into and how I kind of secretly wished for more phase 1 Marvel movies as they went on. So I wonder if my feelings on one will improve over time as other movies drop over time.
Well, like for me, it's the same. It's middle of the road. But I think after I rewatched it during my big like rewatch of stuff before Endgame, I found myself enjoying it a little more because it was in the collective like of everything I was watching. So it felt like, yeah, it could have been earlier, but it was fine to get it. But yeah, I mean, again, it's better than Iron Man 3 and.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, I a conversation about everything post Endgame kind of has to, like. This is going to be a big part of my topic, at least, is actually post-Endgame conversation up to this point. There's some stuff to cover. Okay. So
I'm just bringing it up because I rewatched it in the last 6 months for the first time since the theater. And I remember it being like a low B somewhere. And I'm not saying my grade bumped significantly from that, but I really enjoyed it the second time through. The story is very tight and has a really clever payoff, that climax against Dormammu.
Yeah,
and it's a full story in and of itself.
Yes. And yes, it's an origin, and yes, it's a selfish guy who has to learn to be a hero, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know. It really held together for me. I was pleasantly surprised on the rewatch. Okay, Multiverse of Madness. I'm assuming people know the premise who are listening to this. We don't have to dance around the premise, right? Just specifics.
Yeah. Just no real spoilers in the front.
It's a lot of movie. I mean, I felt a bit like I was at an all-you-can-eat buffet, like the Homer Simpson ironic punishment, where it's like, I thought like, oh, a multiverse traveling Marvel movie is going to be awesome. And then it's like that donut feeding machine where it's just like, at some point, I'm just like, somebody hit goddamn pause on this thing, please. It's a lot of movie. Like, I was tired by the end.
And it's only 2 hours.
I know. And it felt like 3. And I don't mean because it was slow. It's the opposite of slow. There's so much happening that it's just like, I felt like I basically watched a Disney Plus series in one sitting. So, yeah, I mean, there's a scene that's probably the big spoiler scene that was both a scene I very much liked and also hit one of my most hated pet peeves of these properties, which I can't talk about what that pet peeve is until spoilers. I thought that this undid some things I liked about WandaVision. I thought that this was a lot of playing the same note of arrive in a new place. Whoa, this is crazy. Fight scene, run away. Arrive in a new place. Whoa, this is even crazier. Fight scene, run away. Repeat, 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 repeat. So I guess I'm going to call it right now somewhere in the B range, but it's not like an 89. Some other percentage I'd have to kind of figure it out. Maybe you guys talking will help me pin down a number. I don't know. It was fine. It was clever, but ultimately at the end, I was just like, please stop shoving food down my throat. I need a break.
Charlie.
So I don't disagree with anything that Kevin said, but all that being said, as a huge Sam Raimi fan, it's funny when I'm sitting there watching a Marvel movie and it's the Sam Raimi scenes that jump out at me that probably put the biggest smile on my face.
Yeah, Charlie, I think your comment was when you first saw it was like you were happy you could tell it was a Sam Raimi movie, right?
Yeah.
Something like yeah.
I enjoyed a lot of what it had in it. I enjoyed a lot of the Marvel stuff that had in it, but I would absolutely say that the fact that this was a Sam Raimi movie, and it was sort of a perfect movie for a Sam Raimi movie, elevated this movie for me more than I would say the story would have elevated it to me. Like the Sam Raimi, like Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, all that stuff are movies that I have revisited so many times. And watching like the Spider-Man movies and that kind of stuff, there's certain scenes in those movies, and there's not a like massive amount of them, but there's certain scenes in those movies that always put a huge smile on my face just because it's sort of like that nod to certain tricks and stuff that he used to do. And this movie was just completely from start to finish. Every time I'm like, okay, that's the Sam Raimi thing. That's the Sam Raimi thing. I was huge smile on my face through all the movie. So I would, it is high on my list because of that. Because it's definitely the kind of thing that I personally could watch over and over and over.
Yeah, and part of this is a little tough to talk about. Some of this are less spoilers because obviously there's a couple.
Yeah, I feel like I'm safe just saying.
Well,
if I just sum it up as being like that's a Sam Raimi thing, I can't really be spoiling anything.
Yeah.
But anybody who's seen the movie should absolutely know what that means.
Sure.
Yeah, those touches were great.
Yeah.
I can't
can't
describe any of them, but they were great.
Yeah, well, yeah, give us a few minutes. We'll get to it. It's funny, Kevin, a couple of things you said I actually way disagree with, which is really strange because you're usually kind of on the same page about what you said. I thought this movie was incredibly reserved with the multiverse stuff compared to what I thought was going to happen. I had a movie in my head that this was going to be, and it was not. I think it was last week or the week before I said, this movie is going to be one of two things. It's going to be a tepid PG-13 movie, quote unquote, directed by Sam Raimi that feels nothing like a Sam Raimi movie. It's just another Marvel movie. And, I'm sure it'll be fun, but just, meaningless and vapid in a bunch of cameos and dumb jokes. And I'm just like, well, just that post Endgame slide continues. I said, but there's a chance that this is a Sam Raimi movie. And I'm really excited if that happens. And I had people message me on Thursday, and they're like, dude, this is a Sam Raimi-ass Sam Raimi movie. And so I got excited. When I watched it, minute 1 to the end of the end credits, to the post-credit scene, I fucking loved this movie. Every single minute of it. It's like a top 3 movie for me. It's among my absolute favorite Marvel movies because it's just so different and it's so weird and dark and different and it's exactly what I wanted a Sam Raimi Doctor Strange movie to be. It could not have been more perfect. It's not a flawless movie. It is not a perfect film. But I've always said my favorite stuff is usually never this flawless, perfect, exact thing, right? One of my favorite things of all time is Twin Peaks, which has so many weird, goofy things that just don't make any sense or don't work or straight up bad parts. But it is such a different thing and so unique and so fresh. And while Sam Raimi is not, it's his tropes, it's his things that he does. So it's not like, I haven't seen this before, but in a Marvel movie, this feels like the biggest breath of fresh air I've seen since Iron Man. I want way more movies like this, where the director is given free reign to really do something different. Because I felt like, man, all the Marvel movies, all the Disney Plus shows have just been so post Endgame. Like I've just been like, man, they are just spinning their wheels. This stuff I've liked in them, but it's just all the same. It's all exactly the same. This was so different and so much better than I had any hope for. So we'll talk spoilers and I'll get into every minute I loved this movie, but absolutely one of my favorite Marvel movies ever. No question. It is a personal A+. It may not be a cinematic A+, but it is exactly what I wanted.
That
Brock.
Yep.
pretty much sums
Charlie?
up what in a much more succinct way than I was trying to sum it up. Just because, I completely acknowledge, from a story level or whatnot, I enjoyed this more than I would have if it wasn't for Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
And let me just say, you guys, to both of you, no criticism that I mentioned at the beginning is any reflection on the direction of the movie.
Yeah.
The directing is awesome and so fun, and so many of his cool, weird, dark touches. Nothing that I said has any bearing on Raimi at all. It is all at the architecture underneath that.
Sure. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in after Brock gives his opinion. Brock, give us a quick one. What do you got? It's as quick as any of us.
So I watched it Thursday night. Finally got to the theater in Sunnyvale next to my house.
Hey, Marshall said he went too.
Yeah,
same
nice.
Theater. Yeah.
So besides having a guy sit next to me and offer me popcorn, and I'm wearing a mask, that was the movie going experience was fine.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I fall a little bit in line with what Kevin said. I feel that where we were left with after WandaVision to here, I felt we didn't get enough. There wasn't enough there to carry me over. So I was a little okay. That's where they're going with it for a little bit. The Sam Raimi touches I liked. I was just like, oh, cool, awesome. Movies tend to work a little bit better in the Marvel Cinematic Universe when the directors kind of are hired to do something that they're good at. And Sam Raimi's good at that horror kind of feel, so he that worked perfectly. I think for me when I walked out of the theater, I was like, okay. It felt as if it wasn't groundbreaking, but I felt as if I was read a story arc in the middle of a Doctor Strange run. And I was like, okay, cool. That was a cool story, right? And then there's going to be another story arc. So, but it kind of stood on its own a little. So, the scene I think Kevin's talking about, we'll probably bring up later. But it's not a like personal fave like for you, Ryan and Charlie. It's again, it's kind of a B-ish there. But if I'm to say anything about after Endgame movies, it's definitely number 2 on the list from like everything after Endgame.
Wait, what's number 1?
No Way Home, the Spider-Man.
Because we got
Black Widow,
Far From Home, No Way Home.
No, we didn't get. Did we get? Oh yeah, Far From Home was after.
Yeah, Far From Home was immediately after. Yeah.
I would
all the Disney Plus stuff. Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and Eternals.
Yeah. I would say for me, it's No Way Home and then Doctor Strange, then Far From Home. If you're doing like the movies, so, but like, I mean, solid, entertaining, right? And that'll lead us into our next guest.
Oh, Scott joined.
Our next guest is not on Zencaster though.
He's getting there.
Scott joined. He's not in Zencaster yet. We can wait a minute while he loads it up. Let's see if we can get his non-spoiler take. He can prep it. I hear he's looking at me. He's muted. He's coming in. There he is. He's waiting for microphone access.
Hopefully he doesn't sound like a demon.
I can hear you. Talk again.
Yeah. How's that?
There you go. Scott's here.
Winner, chicken dinner.
I'll trim it all. Don't worry.
Keep
Don't
the
worry.
robot
Scott, you were in perfect timing because we were just giving our Scott Shea is here. We were giving our non-spoiler talk. Brock and Kevin were liked it, didn't love it. B, some plot issues we'll get to after your review.
Let's not talk plot issues.
Hold on, me and Charlie loved it.
Let's just talk about how great it was.
So non-spoiler. Scott, give us your couple minutes.
Let's just talk about plot holes. Forget about the plot holes. Let's talk about action at the beginning and magic and some appropriate comedy here and there. And I went Friday morning early with a regular human, not necessarily another guy. I went with my friend Ben.
Oh, I assume regular people have not watched WandaVision and have no idea what the hell's going on in this movie.
Oh, no, he loved it. He thought it was great. Okay. He's watched most of them, plays a little Marvel Puzzle Quest with me, has light Marvel knowledge. I think he's watched most of the movies. Okay. He's got kids now, so he's a little bit behind. But we both liked it. I thought it was great. I've seen it twice.
Cool.
So I went back again today to just get my critical viewpoint on it. But it didn't have quite the emotion as Spider-Man did, but it was just as fun. So I would give Spider-Man a little bit of an edge on that. So Phase 4, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange right below it. And then everything else.
I think Brock said kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Brock and I had a discussion earlier. Yeah.
All right.
So that's my non-spoiler kind of take on it. Yes plus.
Well, for everyone that if you're listening and you haven't watched it, I recommend you stop here because we'll get into it now. So let's go see it. It's well worth it. I mean, pay your $25 or however much a movie is these days. Give people a minute to turn off the podcast and then they want to hear the rest of this. All right, so there you go. Okay. Everything aside, I have to say one thing up front. I mean, we're going to go full spoilers right at the end of the movie, so I'm not even going to try here. When they make Wanda so first of all, I had no idea Wanda was the villain of the movie. Like, they never really, there's no promotion of that of the movie. Like, we had no idea. All right. I don't think.
Fucking great.
Do you know why you were caught off guard by it? Because WandaVision, the arc of the character on that show was about her coming to terms with her loss and her grief. But there's a stinger where she's evil. Okay, never mind everything else you watched in all the episodes. She's evil.
Yeah.
It's Dark Phoenix. Let's go.
Sure.
That was what the whole show was about.
The problem is at the end. So again, that's my problem with WandaVision. The last episode is awful. Not the stinger, just the last episode. Like, she doesn't come to terms with it. That's the whole point. She wouldn't have kept the Darkhold. She wouldn't have done all this stuff. She wouldn't have, I mean, this is a little bit different from the comics, obviously, but in this, like, her path to the Scarlet Witch, right? Like, and I think this is one of the problems you're going to see with whenever they get the Falcon in his Cap, because basically the entire arc of Falcon and Winter Soldier is him getting the costume, and then they're just going to repeat that exact same story arc when he's in the movie, because you can't assume people have seen the shows. The movies have to be their own thing. So in this, when I'm watching it, I'm like, Wanda's just straight bad, and there's no even hint of redemption.
No. I would strongly disagree with you. I'll go. You go.
She sort of at the very end realizes, like, well, they're real in these other dimensions. I'm not going to take the kids from this Wanda, but fuck, I still need to go find my kids. But there isn't like, there is no, she's just completely corrupted by the Darkhold, and that's it, and killed. And I loved it. And the second the movie ended, I was like, this is why people hate this movie, because it's a bunch of...
Wait a second. People hate this movie?
Oh, yeah. A lot of people. It is a bunch of MCU stans that have never read a comic book, have never watched any sort of difficult movie fiction, have never read a book, have no idea, like, that you can have people be good and bad. They all want their like wrapped in a nice bow, perfect ending where their favorite characters all come out. No one's flawed. No one has problems. No one has issues. Everyone is perfect. The movie ends with everything being happy and roses. And I was like, fuck you. This movie fucking ended dark as shit, and I loved it. Fuck off. Watch a real movie for once. Read a book for once. Read anything else. Look at anything other than Marvel movies. I'm so happy they killed her. I'm so happy they kept it dark as hell. They never, we never
see
back
a body, so we can't confirm.
Sure, of course. They can always bring her back. Yeah, of course.
Because there was that blip of red, and I'm like, yeah, her powers protected her. Like,
she blew up or something. Of course, there's a million ways they could bring her back, but within the context of the movie.
So I think for me,
no repent.
I disagree with you. I watch Elizabeth Olsen throughout the entire movie. She shows in the dialogue, she's constantly fighting. So inside her is Wanda the whole time. You see it in some of her expressions. You see it in some of her features, how she delivers some of her lines. Oh. She's always in conflict. But yeah, she's a bad guy, but you see in her good Wanda always fighting.
But that's what I mean. They don't let the good Wanda out, and this movie ends with Sunshine and Roses. No, she's a fucking villain the entire movie, and I love that.
The issue I have with Wanda,
no redemption,
is that I would have preferred to have seen that struggle with the Darkhold. Like, I understand they hammered it home. The Darkhold corrupts. The Darkhold corrupts. The Darkhold corrupts. It'll also give you a third eye that's painful, but you can get used to it. But I would have liked to have seen Wanda having that, like, corruption start. And I think from the end of WandaVision... I mean,
WandaVision.
Well, the end of WandaVision is just like, I'm reading the book and I'm going to get my kids back. And the thing is when I watched it and the end of the movie came, I'm like, why didn't someone just tell her she's the multiverse that doesn't have kids? Like,
dude.
I mean, by the time Doctor Strange, the only Doctor Strange is the first one to see her, and by the time he sees her, she is gone.
No, I know.
So I would find this movie hard to understand if you hadn't seen WandaVision, because from the last appearance to this,
that was my first thought going into this. I'm like, this is the first time going into these movies where I'm like, the TV shows are full on required material.
So that is that is a flaw of the movie, but I give them credit for sticking to their guns and making the show's essential viewing.
I get her
not
being evil. I mean, Scarlet Witch Wanda has been more evil than good in the MCU movies.
She's been more evil than good in the comics too. It's like her and Dark Phoenix. But
I think it's just that
Rochambeau for who's bad this month.
That transition, right? Like it's that stinger scene at the end, and that's it. Like I would have liked to have seen it more in the sense of like the Darkhold, like that possession happening. Like
it would have been a boring TV show if it was just a TV show of exploring the Darkhold and sort of visions into the multiverse and that kind of stuff.
Someone else
Brock, you asked for that, and it would have been like you would have been like, "Nah, dude, this movie is half hour too long, and it's blah blah blah."
The thing is when we talked WandaVision, everybody was like, "I want more of this," and I didn't get enough. And that's the thing is like we see her in WandaVision go through this very, very emotional arc, right, of creating a family and then that family being taken away, and her like there's just that like the mental anguish that she goes through is amazing in that show. And then it's, oh, I'm going to go get my kids back by using this Darkhold thing that they just say it corrupts. Show me the corruption a little. Give me a little. I don't need something that's like, guess what? The Enchantress was done in like 2 seconds in Suicide Squad. I'm like, okay, that's how she, became bad. Like, I don't need it to be something that's super long. I just need it to be something that gives us where she's going to be. But I get how they wanted to just drop you into it.
So I kind of feel like it's a little bit of the reverse, actually. I feel like the Doctor Strange movie colors certain things in WandaVision in a new light. And I like that. I like the fact that the kids are, because she's been having visions of this other life, what she creates was almost sort of a mirror of that other life, trying to kind of bring that to her. And having to walk away from it there kind of gave her the realization through the Darkhold that she could reclaim that, but it would be real this time. And that promise is what brought forth all that corruption and stuff. Like, I don't need to see a long drawn out thing of her exploring the Darkhold and learning his capabilities and whatnot, because I kind of, from the picture of what she was trying to do in WandaVision to where she's at in this movie and why makes sense to me.
And we do see her get corrupted, and we do see her go bad. That's WandaVision. That's the entire show. She kind of gets out of it at the end, realizes, oh, what's my kids? Oh, now they're gone. Okay, fuck you. I'm getting the Darkhold, and I'm going to become like the super badass. Like, that was the point of WandaVision.
I'm even worse than I was in Westview.
Yeah, she's like, I tried that. It didn't work. Now I'm really going to do it. And
screw you guys.
Yeah, so she's just like, I'll just be a full-on villain in this, which is great. So, but yeah, no, Scott, there is a, the reviews were very mixed, and this is exactly what I expected once I heard that this was a Sam Raimi movie, because it's something different, it's something unique, and the fanboys don't want that. They want their same tepid baby milk water that they can just drink all day, and they don't want anything interesting. They don't want anything unique. They don't want anything special. They don't. Oh, I'm back on Twitter, baby. They don't want anything special.
Based on my experience of the theater, seeing people come in and out and chatter amongst, everybody was happy.
Second lowest cinema score review, second only to Eternals, which is the people walking out of the theater. Second lowest MCU cinema score.
It's nowhere near Eternals.
I didn't make this up.
Wow. Maybe they didn't like Bruce Campbell.
Well, I have something to say about that, but we can wait.
That's fighting words right there.
Well, I have something about that, but I can wait.
Yeah,
another person has joined the podcast. Is this Toby? Someone talk.
Toby and I were actually watching the Warriors game. That's why we were both
we have priorities. I'm sorry.
Toby, you missed the non-spoiler part of it, so we're full on in spoilers here.
Oh, okay. So you guys could tell me what happens in the movie then, right?
How much of the movie did you actually watch?
I think the majority of it.
let's go. When did you start? When did you fall asleep? Tell us.
Let me start today. I started the day. I was supposed to have an editing session with Mike, and then work called. I had to do some work stuff. Started to run out of time because I was going to go up to the city, and I was going to do the Warrior game. Went to the Warrior game. Glad they won. Was on the way back from the Warrior game, realizing going, in 15 minutes I can catch this movie. And there was one seat left in the middle of the freaking theater. Just one. And I was like, I have to do it. So I did.
So you got a good seat.
Yeah, I got an excellent seat.
All right.
For buying it 15 minutes before the screening. The only problem was, I had an entire day of craziness. So I sat down and went to sleep.
How far in?
I saw the beginning. And I think I kind of dozed off, and then the Illuminati stuff happened. I woke up for that because I figured that's important. I had to see that. And then after that stuff, I think I went back to sleep, and then I think I watched the end. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, Toby.
The question is, Toby, were you alone in the theater when you woke up?
No, it was fucking full. I was freaking out. I went in like the Unabomber, man. I had like a hoodie on. I had like my mask, my hat. Like, I'm pretty sure they were eyeing me out, making sure I wasn't like doing bad stuff in the theater.
No, we thought you might have slept through everybody leaving.
Oh, no, I didn't do that. No.
That's good. So that's a plus.
No, I watched the end.
You see the credits?
Yeah, I saw the hot dog thing.
All right, that was good. Did you see the hot dog thing when it happened in the movie?
Yeah.
All right.
At least that paid off for Toby.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I want to go to a point that Kevin said earlier because Toby brought up the Illuminati, so we can get to that. And obviously, that's a big part of the movie. And that was my fear. So, Kevin, you said you felt the movie was like jumping around. Again, my expectation was this was going to be a shitload of cameos that were all meaningless and just wave at the camera, done, next scene, right? The fact that they only went to one, they went to like the evil Doctor Strange universe, whatever. That was the incursion thing. But they really only went to one parallel Earth. They had one entire segment of the movie dedicated to that group. They all had significant scenes, significant parts. They all it wasn't just, and hey, here's John Krasinski. Hey, here's Professor X, and then they're gone. It's like 2 seconds. That's what I was expecting.
So I have to say, just because I found it incredibly silly. They set up the Professor X stuff in that scene as like a big surprise. It's like they announce everybody else. It's like
the one part of the trailer
exactly.
The one
it's
thing
like
in the trailer they showed
this big surprise. So let's just put that one person in the trailer clearly.
Yeah. No, it was. So I had no idea Black Bolt was going to be in it. I was spoiled on John Krasinski earlier in the day, or the day prior. I already know it was going to happen. Why
were you back on Twitter at that point? Come on,
he's been buying this shit for years. It's fine. It's fine.
Addicted.
I know.
No, but there was already rumors about it beforehand. But I had no idea Black Bolt was going to be in it. That was amazing.
No idea.
Was that the same Black Bolt?
Yes.
Yeah, from the show.
Yes.
Really?
Same guy. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I didn't realize that was Monica Rambeau's mom. That was I didn't recognize. I was like, I don't know who this is. But I talked with my buddies. We were watching it with Seth.
Yeah, from the Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah. So it's her friend.
It's her friend from
Captain
the 90s,
Marvel,
right?
Yeah. Because she looks very different on her hair. I just didn't realize it was her. And then to me, Kevin, that scene was. I thought that would be 2 seconds, but it's significant and important and part of the movie and makes sense and was way longer and way more important than I thought. That was my fear. Was so that scene where they're like blipping through the universes. I thought that was going to be like a who's who cameo of 1,000 characters, and it wasn't. It was just that. It was really just that one sequence. So that's why I said I disagreed with you on that.
Well, no,
I don't know if you had.
Okay, so let's talk about the Illuminati. Here's a timeline of me watching that scene. because I had no spoilers at all for any of that.
Nice.
Yes, Kevin. Neither did I.
Okay.
Had no idea.
Okay. I know what the Illuminati is in comics, so when they mention it, and I was glad that they were on that world, and the movie had slowed down a little bit, where they're captured, and that was good. That was a nice change of pace. They walk in, they take him in the chamber. I'm like, well, obviously it's not going to be the comics Illuminati. So what are they going to do? And then it's like they show what was Mordo, right? And then
Right away,
Carter, and then Black Bolt. And so here's me watching like, whoa, what if the What If cartoon is canon? Holy shit. Oh my God, that Black Bolt is amazing.
Yeah.
Like amazing.
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't they have done that for the
And then
TV
it's like,
show?
Look what a movie
It was
budget
just
gets
a
you.
costume.
Okay, Captain Marvel, okay, whatever. It's Photon or whatever the character was called. And then holy shit, Mr. Fantastic looks like he's coming in on the Doom time machine. The square platform.
His portal.
This is unbelievable. Then Professor X wheels in. I'm like, okay, you got me. Let's reset.
In the yellow comic
Not only
chair.
that, with the X-Men theme, though.
Yes.
Yeah, with the X-Men theme. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so you had me. I'm right. I'm ready. You take me wherever you want to go, except the place they took me. This is the pet peeve. No, this is the pet peeve. Hold on.
The fight?
Yes, because
the fight was terrible.
No, hold on.
They Deadpooled it.
Go ahead, Kevin. Go ahead, Kevin.
Okay. In Endgame, there is a scene with Thanos, the Thanos from the past who comes into the present, and he's fighting Cap, Thor, and Iron Man simultaneously with no Infinity Gems, no Gauntlet. It's like this new trend of we're going to elevate the villain so powerful that the heroes are all jobbers. I hate it. I can't tell you how much I hate it. So you're going to tell me that the Scarlet Witch, who's not even the OG Scarlet Witch, is the possessed Dreamwalker one from that particular planet or that dimension, is now as powerful, more powerful than any of these characters, and just wipes them all out. Never mind that the world's smartest man, Mr. Fantastic, response to this awesome, like, incredible supernatural threat is to throw a punch at her. Like, what are you even doing? Like, so you had me at the highest elevation on the roller coaster when that scene started, and then when they all got wiped out, my stomach just dropped, and I went, well, shit. That was a great build-up, and I feel like I'm...
Crap ball.
And then a crap payoff.
Hard to disagree.
Well, that's why they make chocolate and vanilla.
Because
Dude.
it's an alternate reality. Slaughter them all.
But make them go down with some dignity. Like,
no,
as Ryan knows, that's my MO.
every death worse than the previous. When they popped Black Bolt's head, I was the only person in the theater laughing out loud.
But Ryan, they're all just standing around watching as one by one the characters fall. Like, come on.
Oh, no.
You're like,
no,
yes,
because
they were.
They didn't know what was going to happen.
The only people that teamed up were Photon, Captain Marvel, and Captain Carter.
Yeah.
The rest of them just were like, hey.
Well, she takes out Black Bolt first, the most powerful one. And then after that...
the world's smartest man throws a punch at her, and he gets
Reed's like,
out.
The fuck? So, like, I am 1,000% okay with this. I loved it.
I agree with Kevin that the way Reed approached it, I was too sort of quick and simple. It didn't really give Reed a chance to shine at all. Like the Black Bolt, at least we had sort of the flashback to the Doctor Strange and that stuff. Reed never really did anything that significant other than just appear. So it would have been nice to give him a chance to shine. Like I felt like, honestly, Captain Marvel was just Captain Marvel. We've seen what Captain Marvel's capable of. So that, but I thought the Captain Carter stuff was great. They gave her plenty of a chance to shine and get a few licks in before she got killed. But
chopped in half.
But I felt like specifically Mr. Fantastic never had any chance to shine within the entire sequence with him, unfortunately.
He went out like a chump.
Well, totally fine. I loved it.
For me, the issue I think I had was, especially with the Black Bolt thing, was like Kevin said, we we get this introduction, like, ooh, and then we see him take out Strange. Ooh, yes, amazing, right? And then the way he goes, I'm like, you're telling me Black Bolt never stifled a burp in his life? Like
let that shit go, man.
Like, it's
can't hold it in.
Like, it's one of those things where it's like, part of me is like, yeah, okay, this is like, okay, it's whatever. I've seen this in what if stuff all the time in comic books. I'm like,
the magic bounced it back up it couldn't go out his mouth, so it went out the top of his head.
Yeah, to me, anything that happens in that scene is because Wanda allowed it. They already acknowledged the fact that Scarlet Witch has reality warping powers. They said it in the movie.
Yeah.
Which means anything's fair game for her.
It just took, for me, I was like, okay, fine. And then Reed, oh God, no. And then it's like Marvel gets crushed by a statue. Captain Carter gets cut in half by her shit. Okay. Like,
so, I mean, to me too, like, I'm fine with it, because when she's standing there free to do whatever she wants, she's doing these crazy things. When they start actually attacking her and blasting her and punching her in the face, like, she's jostled, she can't focus, right? I mean, she still has to cast the spells. She's not just like this omnipotent being that can, not do anything. She's still human at the end of the day. So I like that they were like, she took out the two most powerful people first, and then and then everyone else is like, oh shit, that's why Carter could come in and kick her ass for a few minutes.
The best part is like, all this is going on, and I'm like, Xavier's not just like, go to sleep. Like,
no, because he had to get his wheelchair down there.
Kevin,
he's not fast.
Kevin,
so here's what I really liked.
The scene. I hated to see him go out like a chump again. At least how about Ryan? Ryan, hold on.
So good.
How about 30 more seconds and 30 seconds of screen time? You can do a lot. I know it sounds like a really short time, but in movie time, you can do a lot. How about 30 seconds of Xavier versus the Scarlet Witch in the mental headspace, and she finally finds a way to beat him?
Yeah, because
just don't have Reed pull out a device. Sure, she can still kill him, but I just don't want to see them chumped off. That's my objection. It's not that they lost.
Because it's Reed Richards. Reed Richards doesn't get chumped off that fast by Galactus.
But this is in some like weirdo alternate universe. Maybe it's not that smart. You don't know.
They introduced him as the world's smartest man.
Yeah, they're all kind of dumb on this planet, though, so it's fine.
Okay.
So this will actually bring me to the one scene, the one thing I hated in this movie. Can anyone guess what it is? I hated one thing in this movie.
I just want to argue with you.
I hated one thing in this movie, and it's in this part, and it's in this part. It's the only thing I hated.
That they're being kept in a clear glass cube?
Nah.
Okay. You're not tired of that yet?
She tries to break it with the fire extinguisher. But the superheroes can't get out of it. No, I hated one thing in this. What is it? It's in that scene. It's in that scene with that character.
Wait, who's that character?
With his girlfriend. With his girlfriend.
Oh, with...
What was it?
They call the MCU the 616.
Oh, the 616.
Oh,
and
that
it should not
me
be.
too. That
was the one thing I hated. I was like, nope, it's not. They have to change it on the Blu-ray because it's not the 616. That's the comics universe. Like, they have to change that because it's not. Like, I actively really am mad about that. That is the one thing in this movie I hated because it's not the Marvel universe.
Why can I see the clickhole article with Ryan's face?
I mean,
everybody's got to choose their hill to die on. If that's
it is a clear mistake in the movie that must be edited on. It'll be edited on the Disney Plus.
Toby will edit one for you.
They can edit it and resend the edited theater to the movies right now.
Leanne is going, oh man, his birthday gift is the fucking easiest this year.
Just any other number. Other number.
Toby, this is me just hoping that like Disney Plus or something just lets whoever's watching the movie just input a number and it will just say that number.
Literally any other number.
Would you be okay if it was just... If suddenly dubbed in was a Toby voiceover saying a different number right in the middle of that line?
Yes. 5.
69 420, okay?
It's the 143 universe.
No, just one number. 5.
Sure.
Toby's voice.
Totally fine.
5.
No, that's just Shazam universe. Can't be 5 either. So that's the ones. Seriously, I saw that. I was just like, no.
That's okay. Well,
it's
just
not
be
616. Fuck off. You're wrong. Sure. 161. Totally. Yep. I'll take anything else. Literally
the
any
only
other number.
reason this is in my head is because I watched the movie last year, that Josh Trank Fantastic Four movie, and what is the character's name in the Doctor Strange? Christine, right?
Christine, yeah.
Refers to she's a graduate of the Baxter Foundation, which is from that movie. The
is it
Trank
really?
Movie, yeah.
Is that the thing they?
Yes.
That's their
that's where all the program where all their not breeding is the wrong word, but training like the scientists of tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
so one of the things I liked
or something, or maybe that was from something. I don't remember.
I really liked the Raimi the how would you say it? The Raimiizing of kind of the horror part of. There were so many different Sam Raimi.
Yeah, that's
like, wow, this could be very much Evil Dead.
That's what me and Charlie were talking about in our non-spoiler part of the podcast. You have evil books, Dutch angles, doors closing,
and just people's faces, like the screen of the guy's faces going in and pulling out.
A guy with a possessed hand, like
going back to the Bruce Campbell scene. The whole way that played out with the mustard and the
it was very good.
It was great. I just wish at the end when they did that end credit scene with him, we would have almost gotten a middle finger. If that would have been perfect.
Wait, acknowledge also. Hey Scott, you must Charlie, the Illuminati scene when it looks like Elizabeth Olsen walks straight off the set of Carrie. Or the Ring, and she's walking out of the smoke and with the blood-soaked face.
Yeah,
awesome.
I liked the small. I liked the horror jump scares in it.
Yeah,
I liked that part of it.
Oh, when she snaps Professor X's neck, I was like, "That's fucking awesome!"
Yeah. They're chasing them through the sewers like Doctor Strange has no powers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like...
She's just
well, I mean,
coming out of the walls.
Her in this movie, he practically doesn't.
and you kind of suspend all that stuff. In my head, it was just... That's why I liked it so much as a movie. It was... I mean, what other movie had little bits of horror and scary parts? When he's trying to save Wanda from the mindscape and she's under there and it just... collapses straight down, you're like, whoa.
And there's comedic elements. There's a lot of Sam Raimi slapstick, which I love, but they don't make Doctor Strange a buffoon. He's not cracking jokes the whole movie. They play him way more serious than I think in some of the other movies. He kind of jokes around a little bit, but it wasn't the annoying Marvel jokey style. No, it was Sam Raimi style, which I love.
It was the good character humor that that really just resonates from things like Tony Stark's interactions with Warhammer Rhodes, right? Like those interactions are great because Wong and Strange have a great chemistry to it.
Yeah,
We haven't even brought up the fact that America Chavez is...
I was just about to say, there was about a 0.1% chance that I would like this character going into the movie.
She was fantastic.
She was great.
Yeah, agreed.
I completely expected just annoying, pointless, meaningless.
You were half expecting selfies and a cell phone
and power wise, I had
issues with her not there were points in the movie where she got scared and things happened, but there was other points where she got scared and nothing happened, and it felt like her powers at some were just
that's
plot drivers.
It's just
versus
when she's trying to
trying, but when she was inside the glass cage and she utilized it for the first time more in kind of like a frustration, like I was like, okay, I would have liked to have seen her character do that a little bit more. So
she so I know she is pretty comic wise, because I didn't read that original miniseries. She's only popped up on a couple of things I've read, but at least looks and they didn't apologize. They didn't make it something weird and different. She's exactly like the comic, which
And it was
whether I like the comic or not, I really
Yeah.
appreciate. Yeah,
She
yeah. And
looks
she wasn't.
and stuff like right out of the comics, but
The costume is perfect. The powers are perfect.
But her power set wasn't like. It's been a long time since I've read anything with her in it, but her powers didn't have anything to do with opening up portals to the multiverse or anything, as far as I recall.
So it actually does, and I didn't realize that. I think she may have been in like 1 or 2 issues of Champions that I read. She has like fight and super strength and like
run off of Secret Wars.
She has like. Well, she has like the ability to her punch has like the star punch and everything like that. But she does travel the multiverse, so that is one of her powers.
Well, I like that they made her like an anomaly, like she's the only one, like
which is fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, yeah, and to what Charlie was saying, or kind of what Kevin was saying too at the beginning, they don't even. There's not a. I mean, it's action minute 1.
Yeah.
I mean, you're straight in with And look, we can not call him Shumagorath because I want Shumagorath.
Whoa, yeah, we're not. I can't talk about that. I can't talk about that. I'm sore about that. Unless Shumagorath is a race of monsters just like him.
That's what I was going to say.
That's his brother.
This is a Shumagorath. This is not the Shumagorath. It was awesome. Like the whole sequence is fantastic, and it was just
that's the eyeball one, right? Or was
gross and yeah, the big tentacle.
But isn't that? I thought I read somewhere before the movie came out.
Shumagorath is like a demon,
but he's that.
They didn't have.
But that name is tied up with the Conan rights.
Probably
right. They did not have. I read that they did not have the rights to use that name.
Yeah, I think it's connected to the Robert E. Howard rights.
We'll put it in the long list of Manape and Shumagorath, and I feel like there's a couple more we're missing. I mean, really, Scarlet Witch until the end of WandaVision, they never called her that once.
Right.
It's just it's characters. They changed the names.
I was disappointed.
We know who they really are.
Scott, back me up on this. I was disappointed that in all the worlds that and Ryan, you didn't want cameos, but I would have taken a 15-second cameo in one of the worlds when all these different Doctor Stranges that they ran into, maybe 3 in the movie, 3 different ones. Give us I just wanted one where he has that full head mask from the 60s comics. Just one.
Just one head mask, please.
Well, I wouldn't have minded but cameos, but I don't want that to be the movie. Right. Yeah. And that was what my fear was. And Spider-Man was the same way. Right. I had very similar concerns to Spider-Man. I was like, oh, here we go. We're just going to have a bunch of meaningless cameos. But no, they didn't. They did a really good job of both of these and were very reserved when they didn't have to be. And I didn't think they were going to be. So
okay, I have another beef. One more thing that was bothering me, and it was a quick one. A body doesn't decompose that fast.
Well, no. If a body from our universe wouldn't decompose that fast. A body from another multiverse would potentially decompose that fast because it's from a different multiverse. It also could have
you got to draw your line
from like the
you got to draw your line somewhere.
It was touched by that demon rag thing at the beginning, which could have accelerated the decomposing.
I was going to say this movie takes place over the course of like 3 hours, right? I mean, it was like real time. Like there's no time passed in it.
No, some time passes when they get knocked out.
Come on.
I like
just
that.
Ignore the decomposition thing and just enjoy
the Evil Dead part of
burst from the grave.
Like the mouth to the side is just straight out of.
That's totally the Evil Dead. That's totally the Ash clone from
what about that?
Darkness.
Where Wanda comes out of. What does she come out of that wall?
And she's all busted up and everything. Well, there was also like
Evil Dead.
Don't forget, Drag Me to Hell 2, fantastic movie. Yeah. Tons of scenes in this with like there being people when she goes into like the water and is like pulling people into the ground.
Yeah,
I love that stuff. And this was Kevin. You just rewatched Doctor Strange. Maybe you can remind me, but I feel like when they've had the magic people. They didn't really do much. I mean, they did in Endgame, but that's
The
kind of
magic
it.
people.
The magic people.
They actually did stuff in this movie, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, this is a cool scene. Like, I love the whole attack on the.
I admit, I was
ancient
surprised there
one
were that
place.
many people still in Carmitage at the end of the
Yeah.
movie.
You're like, you guys stayed? Where did you all come from? Did you just bail out of the fight earlier?
I thought you were all dead. Good job on not dying.
Right?
Well, how great
like-
was it? How great was it to hear Wundagore?
I was just about to
Right?
say. So we have Professor X, we have Wundagore, we have the ability for mutants and the high evolutionary and Wanda to be a mutant. Like we're right there. We're right there. It's as close as we've gotten, right? This could be it.
Because
Yeah.
they're not going to get rid of Wanda, because the whole big thing is they're going to keep stretching it out, and at some point Wanda's just going to say no more mutants.
Well, or no. What was the thing? I remember someone said this a while back. No, she's going to say there are mutants, and it's going to be a reverse House of M, and they'll all pop up on Earth.
No, I think like I think if we going back to the Illuminati scene in Professor X, I would have liked, like Kevin said, a little bit more, especially since we saw what she did. God, I can't remember the name of the magic place where they were protecting it, and she like found a kink and then went and did that like whisper thing to that. Like, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of her and Professor Xavier kind of having that, and then there's that moment where he slips up and she moves in, right?
So I completely agree. They should have done more with that, but I would have liked to have seen it go to the same way that it does in a lot of the other stuff, where you don't have to play by conventional setting and stuff within those kind of scenes. I would have liked to see a little bit more of sort of the astral plane and being able to summon armor and whatnot kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, this was a conversation I had with some other people who were like, "Oh, magic. Oh, it's always a cheap answer. You're going to do whatever." I'm like, "Yeah, that's the cool part about magic. You can do whatever you want." I loved the scene where the two Doctor Stranges were fighting with like the music notes and everything.
Oh, yeah.
It was just a visually. I don't care if it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter. It's magic. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was a
It was
neat
pleasing.
scene.
I felt like it was very
and
pleasing.
the use of the music and stuff in there.
That was a really cool scene.
Well, like-
and it was just so imaginative.
Well, you have
really liked it.
have this universe that's been just destroyed, like it's a constantly moving MC Escher painting, and you just have that that music that fits with that vibe, and just that's how they battle out. Like, I was just like, cool, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's a neat scene. So is the incursion in this is that how they merge universes and the FF and the X-Men come over? Is that how this happens?
Who knows?
Because Doctor Strange says something.
It would be very easy because it's not the same universe that we just saw Fantastic Four and the X and Professor X die.
What did Doctor Strange say to Reed when he first sees him?
Oh, yeah. Didn't the Fantastic Four? Didn't you guys chart back in the '60s?
Yeah,
as in like
So
a band.
people totally Okay, that's what he said. That's what I thought he said. But again, people completely misunderstood what that scene was, and they were like, "Oh, he referenced that the FF were around in the '60s." As I'm like, and they're gonna. I'm like, no. It was a joke.
Yeah.
Like the Fantastic Four being like a '60s
Jackson
band,
5,
like
the
a
Fantastic
exactly.
Four,
well,
right.
The thing
Right.
wasn't
And
like what's his?
So there was no Fantastic Four in the Marvel universe. So they got to bring these guys over somehow.
Well,
And I mean, the incursion stuff feels like a way, right? With two.
Well, the thing is they don't even
distinct universes
even
that
need
can
to
just
use-
go.
like they can use a completely different Reed, but it's the same character. But I like that they've kind of because that was
They have to use John Krasinski.
yeah no like John Krasinski
it's
like the second we
rare
saw
case
him
of
on screen, it was like, yes, you picked it, it's great.
rare case of fan casting where they actually do it good. Like,
but I think if I remember correctly, at some point after we got like Miss Marvel, everybody was like, "Oh, they should do a Fantastic Four that like gets their powers in the '60s and then is stuck in the quantum realm, and then they come out this way." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's
I mean, they should."
like." And I think that like the fan service, the fan casting, and like kind of that comment was a kind of, you know, like 60s to that, but yes, also like it's a joke. It's not anything totally significant.
Well, in the first Doctor Strange, Brock, when he's doing the surgery in the first Doctor Strange movie, before his accident, he's like name checking all the music that's playing in the operating room.
Yeah,
like that he's a music buff.
Yes.
So the joke carries forward character, not just like a dumb joke. I mean, it actually works for who Strange was. So people are just hearing something that's not there. There wasn't a case of, oh wow, Reed Richards, I remember you.
Yeah.
Right. Well, he's never seen none of these characters. So the Inhumans, the Fantastic Four, and the mutants do not exist in the Marvel Universe. So they're going to have to bring him over somehow.
The 616, yes.
616B.
Wouldn't it be 617M for movie? Or C for cinematic? Or F for film?
And speak of stuff that I didn't have spoiled. I had no idea Clea was going to be in it. Charlize Theron that's great.
I was like, Charlize Theron's in something?
That's great casting.
Oh, I'm down.
You know how that spoiled? You know the trap I fell into on that was the Newsarama. What's the story behind Clea, the comic book Clea? Like, well, okay, obviously she's in the movie.
Yeah. So to me, you know, they don't make her the Sorcerer Supreme in the comics in 2022 for Clea to just show up in one movie, be kind of done. Pretty confident we're looking at the end of Cumberbatch's run as Doctor Strange. Yeah, they'll do one more movie, I'm assuming. But if we get 10 years of Charlize Theron, that's fine with me. So I you know, like most of these people are done, right? All the original guys are gone, really, except for it's only
Chris Hemsworth.
Thor, right? Yeah, Chris Hemsworth is the only one still in the
Ant-Man? We have no Paul Rudd?
He wasn't. I mean, he's still he wasn't the original.
He was never original, but
yeah, all the rest are done. So you know, Cumberbatch was early. So yeah, I mean, we'll get one more. We'll get another. You know, this will be the third Ant-Man
Mackie
movie.
will get one more too.
Yeah. I mean, some of the people will stick around, I'm sure, but you know, it seems to be about 3 and out. So yeah, I could see them fast tracking the other, you know, the transition movie to make her the Sorcerer Supreme. But yeah, that was cool. It's a cool ending, and I like it. And that's the exact type of ending where it's like, oh,
what you're doing is you're writing off Wong because he is technically the Sorcerer Supreme at the moment.
Sure.
And we must bow to the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, there's just so much stuff that I did enjoy about it. It's very different. Brock and I had a discussion this afternoon, and I was saying when I usually watch something once, like I'll use most of the DC movies as an example, they're not great. So I'll usually go back the second time and they're better. Because that way you know it's coming, you're filling in what you want to fill in, and then I can really enjoy it. This movie I was like out and excited, and it was probably about a 9, just right out the gate. Then I saw it again, and I was like, okay, I have an issue here, This is more fun, that was more fun. But then it brings it down, and I got a little more critical about it. So...
I mean, it slows down at points, but that's fine. I mean, I never have a problem with that.
None of it was like detrimental to the film.
Yeah, the plot is not the greatest plot that's ever existed. It does have Kevin's biggest pet peeve of doppelganger. Huh? Doppelganger.
Oh, I thought you meant villain. Okay, yeah.
No. Fighting evil versions of the main
you know what I think also, look, and I don't want to give the impression that I'm like hating on the movie just because I wasn't giving it an A+. I will totally watch it again. I think with the chance to maybe like take an intermission, or at least know what I'm going into, I think I might have a different reaction. I think, but also it's like after Loki and after Spider-Man, it's like a multiverse is not like oh my God, wow, this is mind blowing and cool.
Yeah.
I feel like, okay, yeah, I've kind of been on that journey. And so it wasn't the fresh material that maybe it would have been had it come before those two movies.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which is
But
what Doctor
even-
Strange,
even-
the first one, suffered from.
But to me, the thing about the multiverse, and I mean, this is going back to what Ryan was saying, they've been really reserved with, like, honestly, I'm really surprised that, like, so Captain Carter, we already knew from What If and that kind of stuff. The Xavier thing, I unfortunately kind of consider it just a general stunt casting of we could get Patrick Stewart to agree to do this. This doesn't
And I
mean
expect we'll never see him again.
exactly.
He's
Um,
not going to be doing much more.
Yeah. So, like, I feel like for the most part, they went for the fan service, but not to the. We saw some alternate versions of Doctor Strange, and obviously with No Way Home, they did a very good job of giving us that kind of nod back to the previous Spider-Man movies, which I loved. But
Yeah,
like,
and
if you think back to like Into the Spider-Verse and stuff, that explores a lot more in terms of the actually different versions of the same character. Like, you could, within the different versions of Doctor Strange, none of them felt that far away from our Doctor Strange. Like, you could see how, like, even the Dark One, you could see from where our Doctor Strange was right now, how he ended up that way.
Yeah.
It
Well,
wasn't
like,
any.
Wasn't the one in the beginning like the one from Jason Aaron's run? Like that costume, wasn't it?
Ponytail Strange?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, even Ponytail Strange, in a lot of ways, you could see our Doctor Strange making the same bad choices if he didn't
That's-
learn certain lessons along the way of this movie. Like,
Right, and that's the whole point,
Yeah.
is that, it
And
always comes down to, like, the only thing we can do is take her powers.
yeah,
right?
but what I'm saying is, in a lot of ways, the thing I love about the multiverse is I'm really surprised, and it's not to say that this is a huge negative from the movie, but like in terms of cameos or whatnot, I wouldn't have minded just seeing a alternate version of somebody we already know, but in a
Yeah.
different way. And they kind of gave us that with like Captain Marvel, but even that felt a very low-hanging fruit kind of what if.
Yeah, can I add to this?
Yeah, go ahead.
So with a title called Multiverse of Madness, I as much as hard as it was to get Chris Evans back, I half expected to see Chris Evans Human Torch, where Doctor Strange goes Steve, and he goes, "Who's Steve?" Like, I'm Johnny, or something like that, to totally play on that, right?
See,
So-
that's exactly what I didn't want and was afraid they were going to do, that it was just going to be a bunch of winks and nods to the audience.
Well, I'm gonna
They don't
disagree
even-
here because I totally wanted to see that. Because I
With-
felt like that was a wasted opportunity. I was like, this is the movie to do this with, especially with the setup from Spider-Man. I didn't need much of it. I just wanted to see some of it.
Well, even with Black Bolt, they don't make any attempt to make you realize that's the same character from the show.
Yeah.
Like, they don't show him without his helmet off. They don't show him like in his
But I think it's cool that they cast it the same guy.
show
No,
costume.
it's-
No, I am 100% down with that. Yeah.
Incredibly cool. What they did with the Illuminati was incredible. I'm not trying to sort of take away from that, but I also felt like I'm trying to think of a good example off the top of my head, because there's been a lot of good multiverses and that kind of stuff, and a
Oh.
lot of what I'm thinking of right now would be more like Age of Apocalypse, which wouldn't fit within the context of this movie and stuff. But
My only pet peeve about the Illuminati and the way they put it, at least the way I understood it, was they're all from that one universe. I actually kept thinking it would have been super cool if the Illuminati was put together from different universes. Like, they each represented a different universe.
So this is what I was saying
But
before.
that would cause an incursion.
Well, this is what I was saying before you came in, Toby, and that was my fear, that it was going to be a billion universes, a ton of cameos, just winks and nods, and not a movie, and not actual importance.
Yeah, well, we're going
And
to
that's
disagree then. So I think you're totally wrong. Yeah,
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, that's why I think was the letdown.
Wouldn't be the first time.
But to me, that's not a movie. That, and I'm very happy they didn't. I'm very happy they stuck with
Why not? Was Spider-Man movie to you? Because I thought that was excellent the way they did it.
And Spider-Man
was wrap up their own universe. They wrapped out like 2 other ones with it too.
But that's what I said with Spider-Man. It was extremely reserved. They could go the fan service route and do a ton of stuff, and I'm happy they didn't.
I guess
because that doesn't make a very good plot necessarily. I want a good movie, and this movie worked because you have one group of characters from one universe. It's fan service to a degree, but they all had extended sequences. They all talked. They all had, well, kind of like Black Bolt, but they all had backstories and character motivation, and they all went out. Chumps or not, Kevin, they all had their scene. It wasn't just like, we're here for 10 seconds, gone. We're here for 10 seconds, gone. That might be a funny joke, but that's not a good movie.
So I agree with you that I don't necessarily need that to be everything about it. But so the closest thing I can think of is early Flash, like the Flash TV show, CW TV show, when he first sort of runs through the multiverse a little bit, and we sat there sort of going like, oh, we saw a Legion ring and we saw this and we saw that. Like, I would have liked a little bit of that. I don't need a ton of it, but when they're kind of going between all the different worlds, just a flash of even something crazy like the Impossible Man or something just out there.
No, it is fun, but right. But my concern was that it was just going to be that endlessly through the movie, and that's not what I want.
But I remember the same way with like the Guardians of the Galaxy when they did too many jumps, and I enjoy that kind of stuff. I enjoy the little one frame Easter egg.
Sure. No, and I'm not saying it can't be fun. Look, we were talking about, Crisis on Infinite Earths, right? The CW one. They had a handful of those where they're like, we just get the 2-second cameo. That's fine, but they also had, it was also like 5 hours long, so they had the majority of the plot. We're
arguing the same thing, right? And that one, I hated it because there were just cameos. I kind of wanted it like almost Spider-Man like, where it does matter, and the way they did it for me, I don't think it worked. Not enough, at least. I would have liked to see more of a title like that.
Well, I get wanting to see more alternate versions of people, but I don't know. Like, to me, it's fine. Like we're spoiled with this stuff because we're comic fans, so we see this type of shit all the time. Like, I get it from like the movie viewer perspective who don't, that they may be more. They may know those people more, but like, I don't need a bunch of like Rocket and Groot cameos where they look different. And then, like, Captain Carter works because she's different enough of a character, and Captain Marvel too. So like, I like that. That was fun. But no, show me new people and have them actually have stories and plots and
but they didn't.
Dialogue.
I think they all died like chumps. It was like a Deadpool 2 move. Like, I hated that.
I don't feel like Captain Carter died like a chump.
Deadpool 2, they had...
She's like the only one probably didn't, but...
Deadpool 2, like, it was a funny sequence, but they were barely in it. They had I felt way more time in it.
Whatever.
Can we praise one thing about that Illuminati sequence? Well, we have already, but I mean, one other thing is that flashback where they kill the other Doctor Strange.
Oh, yeah, so good.
Now, yes, it was cool, but I want to compliment one thing: is that Black Bolt scene in there? The costume perfect, the powers perfect. It's straight off the comics page. You don't have to change the costumes. You don't have to make it look, quote, realistic for the movies. You can be accurate and true to the illustrated version, and still, if you do it right, it still works. Not everything has to become dark leather. Use some primary colors. You can. That just freeze frame Black Bolt dissolving that kneeling Doctor Strange. that could be straight out of a Neil Adams comic panel.
Well, the what I really liked about Black Bolt was it felt like the Paul Jenkins run. Like, it felt like that costume.
Yeah, I mean, it was comic accurate.
Like,
Kevin, I'll give you one thing. That would be a case where I wouldn't mind a little cameo of Lockjaw in the background right there, because I had to get home somehow, right? So, like, just
and that one's
in the
easy.
background.
That's just CG, right? Like,
And that'd be fine with. That I would. Toby, you can edit Lockjaw into that scene. That'd be perfect.
oh, just in the whole scene, Toby, do all of the pets.
Well, I think the things that Charlie's talking about is like, Charlie, correct me if I'm, as they're like going through, like there's that world where they're paint, there's the world with all the colors and all.
Yeah, I mean that's fun enough.
But I mean, would you have minded, Ryan, if we passed through and like, oh, there in the corner, real quick, are 2 Human Torches flying above like a Nazi warship? Or
no, but all that ends up being is just clickbait articles for every news outlet,
well, of course,
and people care more about that than the movie. Like, I kind of like it when they don't do that stuff, because it's like we're already so overloaded with characters.
Yep.
Like, I don't need that.
I mean, to me, it's not necessarily a need. It's just, as Toby said, in a movie that puts multiverse front and center, it gave me enough. I'm not saying that, like, it ruined it because there wasn't enough, but, like, other than essentially a Loki season 2, which, again, Loki was great, but we saw a bunch of different versions of Loki. Yeah. Pretty much.
Like, we saw more Lokis in the Loki show than we saw Doctor Strange in this. I'm just saying it's a letdown from a title
and
so high.
More distinctly different versions of Loki than Doctor Strange in this.
I just think it's a waste of opportunity. This was the one movie to do it on. I don't ever want to see it again. And right after Spider-Man, you have the perfect setup where the audience is trained to understand this.
Toby, we're going to get like 40 multiverse movies. Like, they're in.
I think after this one, we should be done. And that's why I think like this was the one to do it on, because people are so fresh in people's minds and the audience has been trained. And I personally, I don't want to see more multiverse stuff after this.
Dude, once that door's open, man, they're never closing it.
Well, I'm just saying I'm saying from my viewpoint, I'm like, we had this fun. We opened it. I thought Spider-Man handled it perfectly. And this could have been like, that end cap to it, that end bookend to it, to like go one step further, and then we close it for a bit. So all I'm saying was, with a title like that, I felt a little let down. That's all I'm saying.
That's fine. It's interesting because obviously Kang's a big part of what's coming up, but Kang is time travel, not multiverse travel.
Well, and except for how they set him up in Loki.
Yeah, in Loki, he's more multiverse.
There's multiverse versions of Kang,
but Kang talks about like eliminating like other Kangs, and so it's we have a similar feel with like Doctor Strange in a sense.
We're not going to get any less multiverse. There's going to be a ton of it. And again, look, I have no real problem with fun cameos, but if that's the focus of the movie and the point of the movie, I don't like it.
That wasn't my argument, right?
I just want the Council of Reeds, okay? Just give me a movie with the Council of Reeds.
And that's why I said I've been very happy with this and Spider-Man, because they were very reserved at the end of the day. They could have done a ton more and they didn't. So I'm okay with that.
I think for me,
leave the audience wanting more, man, because they're going to do it. You're going to get I would Toby, man, I think there's like a 99% chance you're going to get Chris Evans' Human Torch in something at some point. They're not stupid.
No, but I feel like there's a timing on this. There's a timing on it, right? And I feel like if you do it later, the magic on it is lost a bit. Like, if you don't do it now, don't bother doing it, is all I'm saying.
Well, I think the thing is if you look at like Reed Richards, right? And what they talk about, they already talk about like multiverse, like travel and experience and stuff like that. Like, so a Reed is looking into it, which means another Reed has probably done it, right? So it's not like it's
they're making they're making a Fantastic Four movie. I'm pretty sure there's going to be another Reed Richards.
Yeah.
Ryan, what's the percentage? If 99% of Chris Evans' Torch, what percentage would you put on the Michael B. Jordan Human Torch appearance?
Probably
Actually,
0.
to be honest with you, I would have loved that. I would have loved
Yeah,
seeing both Human Torches kind of flying like freaking Human Torch and Toro. Like I would have actually fucking loved that.
That universe will be destroyed in an incursion. So
It'll be like the Crisis on Infinite Earths in the CW show where they show like snippets
show
of
the
each.
planets just
Like here's Batman 89. Here's Michael B. Jordan comes back just to be Flash for 2 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I liked it that the movie had a lot of comic accurate things, and it made me like gravitate towards thinking about comic accurate stuff. Like the Reed Richards made me kind of think of the Hickman Reed Richards.
That's very much like the modern Reed. Yeah, it's great. The suit's perfect. His outfit's perfect. The bearded Reed. Yeah, it's just
the new the strange very beginning was kind of felt like that Jason Aaron kind of a little bit darker, a little bit like the costume fit. You had the Paul Jenkins vibe with the Black Bolt. X-Men 92 with Xavier. So I liked that we had, and even Scarlet Witch felt a little bit more like current Scarlet Witch, like more current version of her in the comic books.
Well, there's she's gone bad a number of times, and so this is classic Avengers runs and through House of M and modern stuff. So yeah, it's this is not like a new thing for her. This is the best Dark Phoenix movie we've had. Like they did it right.
Just not the right character.
Closer than the Dark Phoenix movies. We've had 3 of them so far, and it's the only one that's worked. So
yeah, I don't know. I was kind of disappointed we didn't get any Vision in it, or at least the something.
Oh, this does bring me to a moment I forgot. I did read there was like some interviews with what's her name? Olsen? What was her first name?
Elizabeth
Olsen. Thank you. I just totally blanked out on her first name. Where she said, we're not, the Vision thing's different. Like this version of Scarlet Witch is focused on her kids. We're not worrying about Vision. So I expected that to kind of be the case. I don't know what their plans are with Vision. I mean, he's not gone. He's there. The kids were gone, so she's looking for him.
Yeah.
Vision is still here. I forgot to mention the kids because I have never laughed harder at how repulsed Leanne was when those kids were singing that "I'm so good, I want ice cream," whatever the hell they were singing. She gives me this look, and I just start laughing. I'm like, "What's a horror movie? You know that, right? Like, it's supposed to be terrible." So I just love the fact that this woman's out there. She can't find her kids. She goes absolutely fucking bonkers crazy and murders tons of people. Like, children are terrible. That's all. That's what this movie's telling you. Don't have kids. Don't have kids, man. They just ruin everything. Look what happens when you try to have your kids and you lose them. You go crazy and you kill people.
She didn't try. She didn't try to have kids. She invented them.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
As I said, I like the explanation of Dreams introduced her to her family at a time when she felt like she was all alone, which brought us to WandaVision, which gave her the sort of obsession once she understood through the Darkhold that her kids are really out there and she dreams of them every night. It completely works.
Oh, someone's kids are out there.
Well, yeah, it's again. I view.
Well, I mean, if this
was the Wanda that doesn't have children, but she gets the vision of. Sorry, she gets this idea for having these kids, and it could have been.
I mean, think about it this way: if she's really been dreaming of this every night, she has seen these kids from the moment they're born to this age in her dreams, and through magic and the Darkhold and stuff, she now understands that these kids that on some primal level, feel like they are her kids because of that experience through time, through dreams and stuff. Like it, I understand the whole sort of aspect of it's not actually her kids. There's another Wanda, yada yada yada. But the idea of she just happens to conjure these two kids with powers, blah blah blah, always felt a little off. The idea of she's been peering into this multiverse and she decides, because of her reality warping powers, to give them those particular abilities in WandaVision, etc. All that makes sense to me. And the fact that the kids in this alternate world did not appear to have powers also makes sense to me a lot more. Like
it explains, I won't say plot hole, but it explains something the show kind of left out of why.
Well, I think
did she even make kids?
I think that's why I was a little kind of is that I think that's where the Darkhold comes in more. I think the Darkhold is probably affecting her earlier than we think, but we're never really kind of given that clarity.
The nature of her powers and all that makes me think that, at least on a subconscious level, she could dial into that reality every night when she dreams.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
No, and
the Darkhold just brought with it the knowledge of that's not just a dream.
Yeah. Well, it's, you can make it a reality. You can do it. Like, that's like, I think that's the thing, right?
Well, I mean, she tried to make it reality with her powers, but it was never going to be real. With the Darkhold, it gives her the ability to try and make it real.
Yeah, and that's why. I mean, she's bad, quote unquote, through this entire movie. There's never a moment in it where she's the uncorrupted.
Well, she has the moment at the end when she realizes that the kids, like the kids aren't hers. They're like, she has that moment, right?
Yeah, but it's not like some magical snap your finger, everything's fixed.
No. It's I think it harkens back to kind of what her mental state is in WandaVision and going through this, and that's what the other Wanda represents by her pushing her back, right? Is that she pushes her out. I think watching WandaVision all in one sitting, or at least like in a bigger chunks right before this, probably would have maybe helped a little. But yeah, for the most part, I think what we got was good. I
think it's consistent with the end of WandaVision.
It's consistent with the end of WandaVision, but it's not
any other way.
WandaVision to that. There's some there's things that it's like, does the Darkhold manipulating her at the beginning of WandaVision, or is it being manipulated at the like? That's the thing is like, if the Darkhold is manipulating her, then where is that coming into play?
See,
at the end of WandaVision, she doesn't get it till she teams up with Agatha Harkness. So.
Yeah. To me, the Darkhold thing, and I mean, I'm not saying there isn't some amount of corruption going on there, but I don't think it's...
No, she would have done this anyway.
Yeah.
She did it anyway. Yeah. She did it before she had the Darkhold.
Like,
she was already doing
the Darkhold just flooded her with more understanding and more power, and it kind of becomes that corrupting temptation kind of thing.
Yeah, she was already on this path. She already did it in WandaVision, and she may have temporarily softened at the end of it to fight off Agatha Harkness, but it wasn't to I've realized all my mistakes. It was to get the fucking Darkhold to give her the power to do this. She's been a bad guy the whole time. So like, yeah, there's no redeeming quality here. Scott, I think you're muted. You muted yourself on Zencaster. There you go. You are now unmuted.
I know. I said all aboard the crazy train. She was there the whole way. I mean, freaking nuts.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, and
crazy.
Yes,
And
the reason why the movie is called the Multiverse of Madness is because she brings all the madness.
yeah,
all of it.
yeah. Uh, yeah.
That's it.
Final thoughts. Anyone? Toby, we did not get your.
Well, Toby's is.
I mean, you didn't really finish it. I guess you didn't really watch the entire thing. But if you want to give us slight ranking, slight general thought,
Oh, I can't give
Where
you
you put it?
rankings because I don't think I enjoyed the movie that much. But
Well, what about in Phase 4 rankings?
what's Phase 4? Spider-Man.
Phase
This
Spider-Man, Eternals, Shang-Chi.
wasn't technically Spider-Man the last of the previous
Phase
one,
3?
or did they consider Phase 4?
Oh, I think it's the second one then.
Yeah, that's why
Easily.
I was a little weird. Like when I did the breakdown earlier, I thought Far From
Yeah, Black Widow is the first Phase 4.
because
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
Far
Yeah,
From
no,
Home was the epilogue to Phase 3.
So wait, does Spider-Man count or not?
No Way Home
No,
counts, but not Far
No
From
Way Home. Yeah.
Oh, then it's Black Widow, this, and everything else at the very bottom.
Yeah, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, No Way Home, Doctor Strange, Love and Thunder, Black Panther, Ant-Man,
Well,
Guardians
it's hard.
3.
Well, so half of them are not out yet. So
No, but Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man, No Way Home, and Doctor Strange.
yeah, out of this
Oh,
bunch, I would put Black Widow and this on the top, and everything else at the bottom.
What about you didn't like Spider-Man?
No, well, it doesn't count, right? That's what we're saying.
No,
Then
No Way
then
Home
you-
does. Not Far From Home.
Which one is the third one?
No Way Home.
Well, that one's the top, and then I probably go Black Widow, and then this one, and then everything else at the bottom.
You didn't like Shang-Chi more than this?
No way, not even close.
So
Not even close.
I will say this is one of those cases where I almost kind of feel like they should have just had a previously on WandaVision at the beginning of this movie.
Yeah.
That might have been a.
Look, I'm not a big Doctor Strange guy, but I enjoyed the movie, and I think I'm probably watched from listening to you guys. I'm pretty sure I watched like majority of it. I'm probably some slow spots at Black.
I'm pretty sure I watched those two.
So Toby, have you seen the Batman entirely yet?
No, I've already said that.
We're just getting an update today.
Look, I must have missed the plot point because you guys keep saying this incursion thing will happen if two characters showing up at the same time or something.
Well, it's
No, it's strange. Strange and what's her name? Clea. No, not Clea. The doctor.
Christine.
Christine. Strange and Christine go get another Darkhold from a world that's been through an incursion.
And the Doctor Strange on the world with the Illuminati was put to death because he triggered an incursion on another world.
Yeah.
And he like merged two worlds and blew them up. So when the multiverse worlds kind of get too aligned, they when like
That was
people
the
are
whole
crossing
thing
over.
in Secret Wars, right?
So can they?
Not Secret Wars.
So can they
where is it?
actually meet each other or not? Like, can they actually cross?
Yes, Charlie. It was.
Yeah, it's not a Back to the Future unraveling of time in space.
Yeah, they can travel, but they're not supposed to. And
the idea is if the walls between two universes weakens enough, those two universes collide and wipes out both of them.
Yeah, if there's too much travel between universes.
I must have missed that plot point. But other than that, I think I've seen the majority of it. So, look, I've said the things I didn't like about this movie. Everything else I loved. I mean, I love, Wanda going all out and seeing her, fully unleashed with no remorse to what, she wants to do. That's freaking awesome. So, I enjoyed that. But, yeah. But, yeah. No, that's cool. I like, it's all right.
It's all right.
Yeah, it was all right.
Okay.
Is anybody besides Scott going to go see it again in the theaters?
I might. I have a bunch of free movie tickets. I may. Before it gets out.
I mean, it was good. It was worth a rewatch. It was fun. It was still fun again. I didn't catch like any new like Easter eggs or things like that. I mean, if they wanted you, if they wanted you to see it, you saw it.
People will freeze frame the different the different universes they go through. I'm sure there's some random thing in there that's like, oh, this is actually this thing from this other movie. Like, I'm sure that's in there.
Look, R2D2 and C3PO
Yeah.
are in that space looking area.
Yeah. But it was fast enough that you couldn't really. I don't think you could catch anything.
No, it was, if they wanted you to see it, you saw it the first time.
Yeah.
I didn't think there was anything that was like they tried to jam in there on you.
Yeah,
I enjoyed this movie better than the first Strange movie. I'll tell you that much. Like, a lot more.
Well, what I was saying earlier, Toby, before you got here, was with Doctor Strange 1, when it came out, I remember my review was like, it's good, but it just kind of felt a little too much like Phase 1. It was just a little too generic. And that's actually totally turned around as the movies have come out, where I actually want more of that. I like the complete story. I like the standalone thing. And I want less of like the endless interconnection and just like, chapter 84 of a million chapter book. And so I kind of wonder if I rewatched it, if I'd like it a little bit more, because it does sort of stand alone. Like, I like stuff when they do, I like the connection. I like the connective tissue behind the movies, but it doesn't have to be endless, And this is very much completely connected to not only Doctor Strange 1, but Spider-Man, Endgame, Infinity War and Endgame, and WandaVision. So this is not that. It might actually, short of the Avengers, short of Infinity War and Endgame, this might actually be the most connected movie of any of them. But it just, I don't know, just tonally it was so different that I liked it so much.
Sam Raimi.
Yeah. All right, we are done. Thank you all. Another wonderful movie. I'm sure we'll have, when the hell is Thor? Oh man, I'm not looking forward to that podcast.
Are we just going to say? I'm just going to say the backgrounds were amazing. I wish somebody got paid big bucks for those backgrounds.
I hope it's great. I hope it's great.
I've got to get psyched up to be for it, because I know you're going to be against it. But so far the trailers just, I just can't.
Who closed their eyes and or walked out of the theater when the Avatar 2 trailer played?
I tried not to
because
vomit in my mouth.
If any of you watched that movie, you were no longer allowed at the comic store.
Wait,
if you give one penny to that movie,
Avatar or Avatar 2?
Avatar 2.
Oh, okay.
If you see that movie, Scott, I'm sorry, you're banned from the store for life. I just can't.
Why?
Avatar 2?
Yeah.
Avatar 2.
Yeah, why?
You're not allowed to watch that movie. I'm very sorry.
How come?
Because it's fucking trash. Avatar was the worst movie that's ever been made.
You don't know it's the original?
I've never wanted a movie to fail more than Avatar 2. I want people to lose their jobs over this. I want the stock market to tank because Disney loses everything. I want people to I want companies to collapse because of this. I want
Get off my lawn.
I've never hated a movie more than Avatar 2.
But
I don't understand.
I wanted to just collapse.
This is like an unrational. This is an unrational reaction.
AMC to go out of business because it puts so much money into Avatar 2, and it fails on such a colossal level that just the entire movie industry is dragged down by it. Like, that's how much I want this movie to fail.
So the sad part is that
I don't understand. I still don't understand why.
Because it's trash. It is the fucking worst
Did
trash
you like
that has
Avatar
ever been
1?
on screen. No, Avatar 1 is the worst movie I've ever seen.
It is not the worst movie you've ever seen.
It is the worst thing that has happened to film in cinematic history.
you do realize there was a movie called Batman and Robin, right?
Batman and Robin is a masterpiece compared to
You're
Avatar.
a clown. I love Ryan's hot take. Right now, you are just full Stephen A. Smithing.
I just want James Cameron to suffer the greatest collapse of his entire career and to be penniless in the streets. Avatar is the worst.
What's the name of the material they're going after?
Fuck off.
Unobtainium.
No.
Unobtainium.
Yeah. Piece of shitty. That's what it's called. Okay. Avatar. Get the fuck out of here.
So I'm gonna see it.
Awful piece of garbage.
I'm gonna see it just to give you a report.
It's trash. I'll tell you right now. It's an F. It's a straight F.
You have no idea.
0 out of 10. 0% on Rotten
Well,
Tomatoes.
the funny thing is like internationally, the movie is
Ryan's
gonna
going to be.
just
Ryan's
blow
gonna
up.
write all the Rotten Tomato reviews.
Yes, he's going to write all the Rotten Tomato
Worst.
reviews.
Before watching the movie, he's gonna write all the
You
Rotten
are
Tomato reviews.
Ryan. You know you're becoming that guy.
Yeah,
You're that guy.
you turn
I'm
into
just that guy. I'm just that guy with Avatar. It's the stupidest movie
You're
I've ever
that
seen.
guy.
It's terrible. 3D is single-handedly the worst thing that's ever happened to film. It needs to just die. Nobody cares. It's
No, 3D
pointless.
does suck.
No.
I will back
So
you
I
up
will
on that.
say
Actually,
that I
Avatar is-
will always blame Avatar for what happened to the Green Lantern movie.
Avatar ruins
Really?
everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Explain, Charlie. Go.
Because Avatar came out, made a shit ton of money, and Warner Brothers went, oh, we should do the same kind of thing. And they poured all this money into the CG and needing to make it 3D and trying to sort of recreate that mesh of like live action and CG.
Oh God, we watched that in 3D. I forgot. Oh,
Basically, they reacted solely to the Avatar movie in making a lot of the production decisions going into Green Lantern, I'm convinced.
we watched that in 3D. I forgot.
You did?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
went to a screening that was 3D.
Was that the original
That was
screening?
the original screening.
Oh, yeah.
And Ryan was like,
So,
I
and
didn't know this was 3D.
This was right at that like height when
Yes.
everywhere was kind of doing the 3D thing, but
I remember Ryan going in and getting sick.
like Green Lantern was a step further because of all the CG characters of the Green Lantern Corps. And like, do you remember how they had to keep throwing money to try and get the CG to look at all decent in the Green Lantern movie?
Well, I remember watching it in 3D, and the scene where he's
CG and Green Lantern's great.
Oh, I'm not saying they didn't do it, but like they spent so much money on like
Oh yeah, it's a very expensive movie.
Wait a minute. Is the hate Ryan has for Avatar so hard is because he got sick while watching the movie? It has maybe nothing to do with the movie itself?
No, the
Yeah,
movie's
it could
horrible.
be.
No, the movie's fucking trash. It's trash, and everyone that likes it is trash. It's the worst movie I've ever seen.
How many times have you seen it?
Once, and I would never watch it again. I would never
In
pay.
3D?
I saw it once. It was the only way you could watch it. It's horrible. It's fucking.
I didn't see it. In 3D.
Maybe I did see it.
It was only available in 3D when it came out.
I don't.
Maybe I waited.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't
It-
remember watching. it in
I
3D.
think maybe later there were non 3D showings, but when the couple weekends when it came out, it was only available. As far as I remember, it was only available in 3D. That was the point of it because everyone had to install these fucking 3D ass shit screens in there. God, fuck.
You're so angry.
To this day, 3D.
The only
Someone
time-
told me they went to see Doctor Strange in 3D, and I was like, first of all,
What are you,
fucking
stupid?
what? And second of all, they still do 3D movies? Get out of here. But now they have to put all that shit back for Avatar 2. Horrible.
I'm pretty
Horrible.
sure it never like left the theaters. It's just they stopped
haven't-
having. So here's
I haven't seen
there
it.
was the
I listened to a
Avatar,
3D
and then
movie and
everything fucking came out in 3D, and then they
everything.
realized people don't actually want everything to come out in 3D,
No.
so they moved on to be like, now we need an IMAX screen and a Prime screen and a this screen because the 3D did start that whole. What can we updo to the theater to charge more per ticket?
Oh, I love the XD screens. I go to those all the time. They're amazing.
Those are good.
They're very good.
I was going to say, Ryan, I
But
hadn't heard you
I'm
this angry.
I'm always amazed at the amount of different types of screens that exist in a single movie theater now.
Well, every company has their own take on IMAX. So
Yeah,
Oh, you know what? Although you know what does blow
Avatar.
is the Xbox, the box, the seat that
D-box?
moves. The D box is the worst.
I know some people that swear by that stuff, and I think it's the most. I
Shut
don't
up.
want to do it. It just seems so annoying. It just seems like it just takes me out of the movie.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah, it looks really bad. It's like I don't want any gimmicks.
I don't know.
The
I'm all,
movie on a screen.
so
That's it.
I would not go out of my way to watch something in D box for the most part, but there is something to be said for like the Star Wars
The effort?
ride at Disneyland and that kind of stuff, which is the
sure.
same
A
kind
ride,
of
sure.
the same kind of experience where the seats are moving, you're watching a screen, it's taking you through an experience. So if
Yeah, but that's a ride.
I understand
The ride
that's a
lasts
ride,
like
but
2 minutes.
basically the idea is if you had the right movie,
No.
I could see something just like. To me, there is very little. There's the Disneyland ride, which is completely designed to be you're on this shuttlecraft, it's going through this experience, blah, blah, blah. But it is just the same fucking thing. Just in a larger scale than like an individual seat.
Well,
Ryan, you never watched Muppets in 4D at Disneyland?
Oh, I loved it.
That shit was awesome.
I'm fine with it in little doses.
We've talked
I just
about this
watched
before, like 3D and stuff in small doses for like when we were kids, it was at the Michael Jackson experience, right? Like at Disneyland, like all of that stuff. I'm like, yes, give that
Captain
to me.
Captain EO.
Captain EO. Like, give that stuff to me. I don't need a whole movie to be 3D because at some point it's just going to look like cardboard cutouts moving across the screen, and like it's horrible.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this though. One of the years I went to NAB, I did go watch a demo, and I saw what 3D was meant to be, which was they did a laser projection, and it was at a higher frame rate, and it looked so amazing. The demo they had was bloody amazing. It's just none of the theaters wanted to fork out for these laser projection thingies and whatever they're called at the time. But I've seen a demo of 3D movies, and they showed like parts of Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. I've never seen anything like it. I was blown the fuck away. I was like, it was so fantastic looking. I just never got
more
that
immersive.
I'm being straight up honest. I never got that experience in the theater. Like Avatar is it was kind of shimmering to me. I remember watching Pirates of the Caribbean. It was kind of shimmering, and after a while, like even though you're watching in 3D, the 3D kind of goes away. Like you're still watching the movie, and the effect kind of goes away. At least for me, it did. But when I went to watch that demo at NAB that one year, man, I was blown the fuck away. So it is possible. It's just I just never got the experience at a movie theater.
I don't know. For me, a large part of it just
And I
had
never
to be,
will.
Not every movie needed to be 3D, and if you were going to make a movie to really,
oh yeah, no, not every. No, I think only specific movies. Like I wanted to see like also the Pixar water movie with the turtles and the fucking fish finding the other fish. Like that, I want to see in 3D because
Like
I feel like the water world will like translate really well to 3D stuff.
Were you talking about Nemo?
Yeah, one of them.
Finding Nemo or Finding Dory?
Who cares? One of them. They're finding a fish.
I am just straight loving that the last 20 minutes of our podcast just completely jumped the rails, and we're talking about 3D.
That's just how it works. That's just how it works.
We have to get to that 206
we were
part.
almost ready for an outro, and then
Exactly.
I got my paper up.
We got to get to 206, guys, because then we're back at the length of the movie.
Any of you people listening, do not go see Avatar.
Do it. Just go.
So
We're gonna have a comics.
Are we still out on the podcast when we go watch it, or just not in the?
Yep. We're gonna have a comics conspiracy showing of it. That's the plan, and we're gonna do it, and we're gonna go.
Expression on Ryan's face of just
It's
old
it's
man
almost like
hate.
challenge
It's like his Clint Eastwood moment.
We're gonna kidnap him.
Yeah.
And tie him up in a wheelchair and put him in one of those wheelchairs.
Like Clockwork Orange.
Lots.
It's the only way I'll ever see the movie. So
Exactly.
if you want me to watch it that bad, that's what you're going to have to do, because I would put a bullet in my head before I watched Avatar again or watched Avatar 2.
Challenge accepted.
And just wait. He's going to come back and he's like, you know what? That was pretty good.
Yeah.
No.
That was
I'll tell you right now,
good.
it's awful. I'll tell you right now, it is the worst movie to come out this year.
What if it ends up being a complete parody of itself?
Oh, you could take Venom
maybe that'd be all right.
Ryan's like, wait, that could be good.
But no, it's going to be awful.
What if you find out that it was directed by Mel Brooks?
Well, in that case, I'd go see it. Well, his new stuff has been really bad, but No. It's going to be the worst movie of the year.
Hey,
It's going to be the worst movie of the year.
those-
You know what wasn't the worst movie of the year? Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness. Thank you all for listening to my wonderful podcast.
I wanted to ask: Are those Smurfy-looking people always been naked in the other movies?
It's just it's the worst. Who cares?
No, because
Ryan.
when I watched the trailer, I was like, I don't remember realizing there were like a bunch of naked people.
I have no
They've
idea
always been
because
bigger.
I literally closed my eyes so I could not see one frame of the trailer. I don't want to see a second of this movie. I have to pass by stills on it on social media from time to time already.
Oh, he got
Get off
he got
social
back
media
on Twitter
again.
and
No.
auto avatar mute.
Immediate Avatar. Just the worst.
I hate
The
for
worst.
Avatar brought Ryan back to Twitter.
Yeah, I think maybe it could have.
Technically, it was Death of George Perez.
Technically,
That's what he's going
this
with.
hate of
We all know
Avatar.
the fucking truth. He's going to be one of those guys that just
He had to tell James Cameron to get off his lawn.
I'll add him to my list of people to tell him to fuck off every day, like Elon Musk. Also, James Cameron, fuck off. Make other movies.
I just don't understand your illogical
worst.
anger. Just don't get it.
They made a movie called Avatar. It was really bad.
yeah.
It made billions of
was.
dollars. Okay, so all of a sudden, I'm not on your side.
So
because it's trash.
do you not like
3D.
it because it was bad,
It was a very
or
bad
because
movie.
it made a lot of money?
Yes, both of those. It was a very bad movie that some people think is good for some reason, and was this cultural moment that was among the worst things I've ever seen in my entire life. I am more mad at the fact that 3D ruined a decade of film, because 3D is the single worst thing that's happened to the movie-going experience in my lifetime. 3D is awful. Now, I don't care if James Cameron wants to make a sequel. That's fine. He's making 6. Okay?
Wait, what?
Fuck off entirely.
There's
Nobody
6
cares.
There's not 6 of these coming
There
out.
is 6. There is 5 Avatar movies in production. Go
They will
look it
not
up.
make-
He has
they won't
6
make it.
movies. You make your second one. It's a fucking flop, and you're done.
Well,
I don't want.
3 is already.
It's
3 is already.
This shit's been dragging on for years. Every other year, here comes
So here we
Avatar.
go.
Here comes no.
Here we go.
no,
You
it's
ready?
happening.
You ready?
No, it's happening.
We're getting the sequel on December 17th of 2021.
It's like every
Avatar
other year
3
or
is going to
every
be
year.
December 22nd of 2023. Avatar
Yeah.
4 is December 19th of 2025, and Avatar 5 is December 17th of 2027.
Is it 5? I thought it was
It's
6.
5 so far.
Is there 5? Okay, I thought it was
Like-
6. It's
The way of
this shit's reserved
The way
for
of
Lord of the
water.
Rings, Marvel, Star Wars. That's it. Get out of here, Avatar. Nobody likes you. Nobody cares about you. Nobody wants to see you. Flop. Ruin people's careers. Get the hell out of my space.
On a side note, do you
Hate it.
think
I hate it.
the success of the Star Wars TV shows is going to lead to them actually making movies again, or do you think they're going to
I don't
stay
think we're
on
going to see a
hold?
Star Wars movie for years. I think it's going to be all
Okay.
TV shows.
I think they're going to do TV, kind of trying to test the waters to see where they can go with film, but they don't have unless they continue. Unless they continue with Rey's story, they don't.
I think all that stuff's done.
They don't have like a Skywalker. They don't have that.
Yeah, they're going to
character
can't.
to
I don't think
follow.
we're getting any of the side stuff. I don't think we're getting that Patty Jenkins
Stuff.
X-Wing movie
Oh
or
God!
any of that
I
stuff.
mean,
don't
I
think
would
we're
like
getting
to
any
get
of it.
something X-wing related, but
I don't think we are.
Really?
We are wrapping up this podcast now. Joe Duff, Kelsey May, Craig Anderson at
Gosh, I
clearpathcoaches.com,
wish we were
Jimmy
in person.
Rivera at the Social Forum Podcast, and Talon Bray. Thank you all very much for your support at patreon.com/comic conspiracy. I still have to edit this podcast and put it up, and then go to bed. I'm tired. comicconspiracypodcast.com and Apple Podcasts, where you can find all our previous episodes. Go to comicsconspiracy.biz and purchase stuff. ConspiratorBrock.com is Brock's blog, pull list, unboxing videos, all that stuff on there. Charlie's got the Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast. That's his Doctor Who podcast. And do not forget the weekly interview series Between the Panels at fanbasepress.com. That's where Kevin does all his interviews. And my wife, Leanne, has leannehill.com, and etsy.com/shop/Leanne Hill Art is where you can buy all her stuff. Yeah, I'm back on Twitter. Fuck off. Ryan Higgins, Ryan. Brock is Brock Sager. Toby is Toby XI. Charlie's Insane NKS. Kevin is at Kevin Sharp. Stores, Comics Gone Store. Scott is CS Shea. I don't think I'm forgetting anyone else. Please listen to the Geek Box. I should be on next weekend. Manga Machinations. Goodbye, everyone.